And welcome YouTube to the first of our Streaming Because Reasons streams. So we're going to step away here for a moment just to make sure everything's monitored correctly. Check out some fresh beats from Golden Cat Productions in the meantime. And we'll be right back with you here in about 2 minutes. This is Temple Strike. You can find this in our playlists in our 12 Days of Smashmas. It's all brought to you by Maxa, making astronomy and cosmology science again. And in the meantime, we'll let you enjoy this, and again, we'll be right back. Where's that track? We are muted. Alright, so we're going to put your viewer chats on the screen here. Thanks everybody for showing up if you're viewing live or viewing in syndication. By the way, that track is called Settle It. Alright, so we decided to stream because reasons. And of course, since the video was instantly demonetized, we've decided to let the expletives fly. So you're of course encouraged to let the expletives fly in the chat as well. Yeah, if you were able to actually see the video, if you are able to actually see the video, congratulations. Of course, again, it was instantly demonetized because reasons. So anyway, we're going to talk about a news crawl, your basic everyday news crawl. So, I mean, of course, always interesting stuff going on. Yeah. But let's see what else is going on. By the way, if you're enjoying that white noise, just ask us for the link. We'll share it in the comments or the description. It's designed to sound like being on a spaceship at warp speed. Alright, so anyway, of course, this interesting prominence going on here. We've been streaming this throughout the day on Twitch, and we decided to do a rare YouTube live stream. So, yeah, that is some quality activity right there. And I mean, what else can you say? It's top notch. And let's see what's going on as far as news. So, of course, again, since the video's already been demonetized, I'll just make sure that I say whatever I want. And, of course, you, the viewer, are encouraged to say whatever you want. And we hope that you're feeling as good as you look. So we hope you're feeling good and smelling better. I guess I'll say that. There we go. We're hoping you're feeling good and smelling better. So anyway, let us know what's going on in the comments. Tell your friends and foes about the live stream, and we'll be happy to allow you to steer the chat if it leads in an interesting direction. So we're going to head to this is our classic site that we use. We go to this regularly. So let's do the straight up mainstream. We're going to type it right into Google. Yes, that's great. CBSnews.com. Wait till you see this monstrosity. Wait a minute. Are we that delayed? Hold on. Okay. There we go. Now you should be able to see the horrifying... Oh, look at that. Oh, my God. We're not using it as a search engine. We're just typing it in as a URL. And there you go. It's the monstrosity, the original fake news. CBSnews.com. And we're just going to leave the test pattern up there. Again, if you've got some input, drop us a line in the live chat. And if you're wondering where we're located, we are located in Banana Republic, United States. Located in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. Yes. So that's about as vague as we'll keep it. We'll keep it pretty vague about our location, as it is indeed classified. Anyway, let's see what's going on CBS News. We're going to put our test pattern back, as we don't want too much of that to be playing, whatever it might be. And it is quite a mystery as to what is typically going on over there. Let's see if they've gotten rid of their monstrous header. What is going on with my view? Something looks funky here. YouTube, I blame you for a huge, massive delay. All right, we are good. So let's see what their top headline is. Latest news. Norfolk Southern CEO Alan Shaw vows to, quote, make it right in East Palestine. Well, that sounds great. Hopefully that will lead to whatever is supposed to be done. Probably a massive land moving operation. That sounds like a delight. Just dig up huge areas of earth and then move it someplace else and market toxic waste. And thanks for leaving a comment, John Katowski. Whatever it was, I didn't see it in time. It's since been retracted. John has censored himself. Something about plasma. He's got evening wood for plasma. All right. So anyway, that's the lead news there on CBSnews.com. We've also got McConnell suffered concussion in fall, will remain hospitalized for several days. Several wounded or killed in mass shooting in Hamburg. Former Ohio House Speaker convicted on a $60 million bribery scheme from the State House of Ohio. Ouch. That is a juicy one. $60 million with a House Speaker. Eeks. How much corn was involved in these deals? Who, what, when, where, and why was that all about? And thanks for leaving comments. Mr. Katowski, who says, stars? Oh no, I'm spooked of stars. And then more stars. And then, yep. Thank you, sir. We hope that you are looking and smelling as good as you feel. There he is, Larry Hausenholder. Ouch. Some other guy called Borges did not testify but insisted he's innocent. He faces up to 20 years in prison. Yowzers. That is some large-scale bribery taking place in your corn. Is that a corn republic? Does that make it? Is that different than a banana republic? I mean, a corn republic. I've never heard of that one. That's it's okay. We've got some products that we can't advertise, so I'll have to. I'm working on it. Okay, I'm working on advertising the products and consuming them on camera and recommending them to you. But until I can do that, then I can't. So anyway, Murdaugh is going to appeal his murder convictions, and let's move on to something a little more interesting here. It looks like 3 shot and suspected terror attack in Tel Aviv. Gunman kill, police say. Okay, let's get a more interesting news source here. CBS. Maybe something important happened. That's why CBS is reporting on this stuff. I like the thing about the Norfolk Southern. All right, and Norton 750 says, I can't read that. All right, hold on. What does this say? Norton 750 says okay, so fun fact, there is no dark side of the moon. There's just the far side of the moon. So the moon always swings around. So the one face always faces the Earth. However, there is no dark side. The entire moon receives both darkness and light. So, yes, there is definitely no photos of the dark side of the moon, unless you mean the Pink Floyd album. Then there are definitely lots and lots of photos of the Pink Floyd album, as it is one of the most popular albums of all time. All right, so let's get to a different news source here. One that's slightly less berserk than CBS. Oh, for goodness sakes. That is not good. All right, that's great. Let's hope that was not seen. Perfect. That is epic. And sometimes you have too many tabs open. By the way, join us on Twitter if you would like to. Okay. And yes, there are photos of the far side of the moon, I'm sure. Let's check those out. And the far side of the moon is very weird looking. When you see it, you're going to be like, what is that thing? It doesn't look familiar at all, because unless you're on the opposite side somehow, you're not going to see it. It has the same face of the moon. It always swings around. It has a locked orbit, so to speak. It doesn't rotate with respect to the Earth in a strange orbit that it indeed does do. Keep in mind, the Earth and the moon do orbit each other. All right, so what do we have here? There we go. That looks like a pretty good one. I shouldn't really be using Google Chrome for this, by the way, because it's not so. It's eeks. Like, there's a reason why we have to use different browsers for different purposes. So there you go. There are some moon photos. And there are indeed your chats. Does that draw over the top? Man, oh man, you wouldn't believe how delayed the stream is. All right, so there you go. There's the far side. And yeah, as you can see, a little bit different than the Earth side, eh? Just a tad different. I mean, vastly different in every possible way. If it looks completely alien, it's because you don't see it. So yeah, but both sides of the moon get darkness and light, so there is no dark side. All right, so I have a great video for you here that, well, it's not a specific video. It's just a channel and a channel content because it's a brilliant idea because there are a lot of really ridiculous YouTube channels, so this is a thing that we're going to have to do sometime. So let me just introduce you to a channel. We'll actually drop these guys an email here in the coming days, because we'd like to ask some questions and suggest some suggestions. And let's see, it's called let's see. Yeah, you should just be able to look for the Uncle Rico Show. Yes, so if you're familiar with Stuttering John, formerly of the Howard Stern Show. I mean, I do remember Stuttering John in that I remember that when he would conduct news interviews, I would always be appalled at how seemingly inept Stuttering John is. And it wasn't because he stuttered. I mean, I don't know if that's... Some people seem to think that might be a shtick or something. I don't know what's going on with it. But for whatever reason, I specifically remember seeing that guy and going, that guy is jacked. And, I don't mean he's jacked because he spent a lot of time doing pec day, where he only works out his pectorals. But he's jacked because he does not know what he's doing. And you could tell when he talked to people that he was just a bad interview. So, okay, for instance, one of the typical features of a proper sociopath is that never accept guilt or admit that you're wrong, right? So here's one of the episodes here. It's dedicated to... Well, it said in the thumbnail that it was... It's never my fault. Oh, here's him getting fired at the Howard Stern Show. That's great. I don't know if he's roasting himself here. But anyway, it's hilarious to have a panel discussion and watch other content and then comment on it. So here's a little clip.
He calls me a little bitch after he fires me within 5 minutes.
So this is actually him 20 years ago at the Howard Stern Show.
To be thought of as less than a man.
And then you've got
you
these guys
and don't think
chiming in and doing commentary on the current Stuttering John live streams, which are giant train wrecks. So okay, here's a clip of Stuttering John.
They're the NASCAR fans.
I mean, this dude is all right. You're not going to believe this. Let's wait until they hit play here. If you've ever seen a dumpster fire train wreck,
Drunken phone calls, I mean, between that and speed weed, what else are we gonna do? Well, we have a wonderful Supreme Court ruling.
All right, I don't know what he's trying to say, but just check it out. It's called The Uncle Rico Show on the Shuli Network. Absolutely hilarious. I mean, Stuttering John, he has not become smarter in terms of in terms of the way he behaves as a broadcaster or just talks to general people. It's, oh man, he'll have Hal Sparks on there and all kinds of other more famous people, and it's pretty good stuff. So check it out. The Shuli Network has all kinds of clips as well as lengthy streams. So that's a good choice. All right, so anyway, let's go back to, we'll do a news crawl here on a more interesting website. Let's go to Zero Hedge. Probably the reason why our live streams are forever demonetized. And hey, once again, thanks to everybody who showed up and realized that we were actually streaming. So congratulations on that. Of course, a demonetized video is known to not be recommended. So, all right, what do we have here? I saw there was something else that came out with the Twitter files. Did you hear something about that? Did you hear something about that? Yeah. I got an update to a Twitter account that doesn't even follow Elon Musk. Yeah. Yeah. That's fun. All right. It looks like there's a big short coming, so there could be a credit event. Be aware of that. And of course, part of the reason why we do space weather videos is economic forecasting, as there's nothing more deep of a cyclical than solar cycles. All right, so here's some more. Oh, yeah, thought policing. Yeah, I can't think of a more appropriate place to talk about thought policing than on a YouTube live stream. What about you? And man, oh man, yo, I'm going to show you this for a second, but I'm only leaving it on the screen for seconds because it is a mess. Watch this. That is berserk. I mean, that I can barely even pay attention to what the article says with that much stuff on the screen. It is bad. That's just Chrome in standard settings. Nothing special. So I can't display that on the screen. There's barely any article. It's where's the beef? It's all ad. But let me just show that again. That's absolutely berserk. Look at this. Dude, that is out of control. All right. Anyway, the judiciary hearing on weaponization of federal agencies. How does that sound? That sound juicy for you? Does that sound like the kind of thing to get your video demonetized? I mean, dude, I made this video about how-to and lifestyle. I mean, I was ready to talk about growing potatoes in the wintertime in flower pots in the living room using a restaurant shelf to mount lights. It worked great. And now we're growing Gen 4 or 5 or whatever gen it is. They're very ready to grow indoors. Yeah, have a potato vine in your living room. It's fantastic. I think you only need about a 5-gallon size to really have serious potatoes growing. So it's pretty good. Put a big flower pot somewhere. Put a bunch of light above it. Grow a vine. It's fun times. All right. Anyway, it's not very complex. When the vine dies, then dig up potatoes. Pretty basic. All right. So yeah, there's another edition of the Twitter files that just recently came out, and what it is it's of course about, well, the weaponization the weaponization of government and corporate partnerships, otherwise known as fascism. Yeah, fascism. Proper big tech monopolies in legit cahoots with the government. What could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong, folks? I mean, millions of people couldn't die or anything. Like, that's not a problem. Millions of people couldn't die or anything because of disinformation. You know, March is a great year to remember 2020, because 2020 was the year that it became official. Right? Did it? Okay, the software barely functioned in 2020. Let's face it. The software, let's see, software like YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook barely functioned by the time 2020 rolled around. It's like intentionally broken. It has ephemeral properties where a thing will happen and it's part of the design, and it basically is designed to waste your time. Yeah. The software is seriously rated based on engagement. Now think about that. Does it boost your efficiency? Nope. It's rated on your engagement, literally how much time you spend on the screen. So every typo that your junky, barely functional software keyboard does is actually rating the software better because it's creating additional engagement, like pressing backspace 10 trillion times. So yeah, there are some issues, some serious issues with certain monopolies where it used to be junkware, and starting 2020, it's now deathware, okay? It's now deathware. So, I mean, this is just a basic fact. I mean, because not allowing information to propagate on the internet and then intentionally causing disinformation to propagate on the internet because of the intervention of corporate entities, that's a problem. Are you gonna remember that? You should probably try to remember that, because it's sort of important. Let's just say that there's a little bit of an issue with accountability. Wouldn't you say so? Okay, so thanks everybody who's showed up and left a comment and so on. Are there any pressing matters at hand? We covered the far side of the moon. I screeched several times. Thank you, Norton750. The non-visible side of the moon. Got it. Yes. And, well, the far side of the moon certainly has a lot of craters. I mean, think about it. Which side is more likely to get struck by an object? The side that's constantly facing the Earth, or the kind that's facing space? You know, Earth's gravity is protecting the Earth side, I suppose. But, you know, other important features to understand are seas, as this side is largely just craters. It has dark-colored regions, which don't really look like oceans and seas. The Earth side does have oceans and seas, as well as a geographic spine. So you can see some evidence of that on this side, too. So, yeah, it's... you can't see that at all because I'm not showing it on the screen. There you go. So, I mean, you know, the Earth side, it's got a lot less craters. It does have a spine. And, of course, it has seas and oceans, where the far side has tons of craters and some dark regions that don't look like seas and oceans. Different albedo levels. I mean, it's clearly darker for whatever reason. So, I mean, that looks like it was hit by a lot of impactors. Anyway, put your comments back here on the screen again. By the way, we don't filter comments or mute anybody on the channel. So, I mean, we've never really had to. I guess it could theoretically be a thing if somebody spams enough or is just obnoxious enough. I guess they could theoretically get mute banned or something like that. But at the moment, we have 0 mute bans. And why is that? Because we want to demonstrate the fact that we encourage all speech that's legal. Yeah, all speech that's legal. So, if you'll excuse me for a moment, I have to take a sip of an unendorsed product. Oh, that's refreshing. And perhaps in a little while, I'll be able to tell you what's so refreshing. All right. So, let's see what other news stories we got here. And, oh, and by the way, little consumer tip. We do use white noise, right? You might be able to hear it right now. We always got white noise playing on the channel. And it's basically to sound like the Starship Enterprise at warp. And I'll show you the site. It's a site called mynoise.net. There you go, mynoise.net. There's your little EQ. This is the low frequency. This is the high frequency. And you can set that however you want to make your own white noise, pink noise, etc. Try it out, mynoise.net. You can even save your settings and share them with others. So, in fact, let me put it in the chat. How about that? So here's the actual setting that I'm using. If you put that on your Boomin system and turn it up real loud, it sounds freaking awesome. And, you know, it's like being under a waterfall. perhaps. A lot of different white noise things. And check it out, it's Kimberly Framunda. Welcome to Kimberly, our longtime pal from making videos like these. And what the heck? Oh my god, I've got Brave browser open, folks, so that's good news. I didn't even realize. I opened it for other purposes. All right, we're going to put your chats back on the screen here in a minute. Let's play some solar imagery just from today. Just from today, the 9th. And let's do the composite. We'll do 94. What is it? 94, 335, and 193. Give it a minute to load. I don't know what's taking so long. And yeah, thanks for stopping by, everybody who showed up. Tell us what's new and exciting in your neck of the woods. Have you dug a bunker? And if so, is it just the right depth? Let us know if your bunker is too deep. We're very interested in bunkers that are too deep. All right, so let's scroll here. We'll show you chats. And yes, there were some great comments on the YouTube videos. We were talking about how we need to write a screenplay. You know, for those of you familiar with Eugene Bagashov, Eugene and I've talked about writing a screenplay. I don't think he likes the idea. But we're both somewhat sci-fi fans, so it would be pretty appropriate for Eugene and I to write a sci-fi flick. But interestingly enough, I've actually got a screenplay already written. So check this out. It's not like it's conceptually written, right? It's not physically written yet, but it could be written at any point. Basically what it is, it's a black comedy, and it's about construction incompetence. And it came to me while working at a real construction site. So I've got like 12 real life characters that I want to portray in this. And, you know, it would be absolutely fantastic. It's basically what it is it's about a real haunted hotel that we built. So it's a 3-story, shoddily designed and built Holiday Inn Express, actually. And I can tell you exactly where it is. It's right near the Lehigh Valley International Airport. On Shainersville Road, there's a Holiday Inn Express on Shainersville Road. And that hotel is haunted. Not haunted in the sense that there's spooky ghosts, which are like disembodied human souls hanging around there, but there's something going on there that's funky. I mean, I've been to a lot of places, and that place is weird. I spent a few months there, like about 2.5 to 3 months, maybe, something like that. And it was like from early summer to late, it was like most of summer. And dude, that place is bizarre. I mean, I saw many things myself that just made me go, that's just too weird. And it was a whole variety of different things that just I never saw before at a construction site. By that point, I was actually construction management, so I wasn't on any of the crews. I've worked for the real estate investment trust that owned the property, so I was the assistant supervisor, basically. When the supervisor wasn't there, I had to be the supervisor, and it was a mess because the supervisor spent a lot of time not there doing who knows what, hopefully not smoking crack, and it was pretty rough because there were a lot of extremely hacky people working there, as you might expect on a construction job, especially at a shoddily designed, cheaply built. Seriously, it was a badly designed. There were all kinds of issues that happened. I mean, stuff that I've never even heard of before that went wrong at that place. It was a series of debacles on a scale that you may not be able to really comprehend. I mean, so the place was haunted. All right, it's official that the place is freaking haunted, and it's not haunted by the guys that were sleeping overnight there. Those were just dudes that were like homeless grifter construction guys that just sleep at the construction site. That's not what it was haunted by. It was haunted by some kind of weird. It's a psychic multiplier. That's what it is. It's a psychic multiplier. So like if you're in a bad mood, you might be in a worse mood because you're at that place. If you're in a good mood, you might be in a better mood. It's a psychic multiplier. That's what the place is, and it's a terrible idea for a hotel if that's what really happens. You know, it would be a great place for like a sports venue or something, but for a hotel, it's real bad. And I mean, let's see. So one of the stories is here's one of the better stories. One of the stories is after hearing people, like an energy amplifier, exactly. After hearing people talk about how the place is haunted forever, from nearly the first day that I got there, I started to see some things, and I thought, all right, well, whatever. I'm going to stop thinking about this, and I spent like half of the day not thinking about it or talking about any haunted ghost spookiness or anything at this freaking hotel. Again, it's on Shainersville Road in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. You can easily find it. Go stay there. Go walk around late at night and see what you think. And anyway, and let's see. The next day I come in and I'm like, it's a nice day. There's nothing spooky or weird happening at all. So I like go into the building because I have to like do all kinds of safety inspection constantly because people do incredibly dumb things 24 hours a day in the building. So that's why we had to lock the doors and things. And anyway, so I go in and I go in the it must have been the south stairwell. I go in the south stairwell and there's some guy I never saw before, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? And he's like, not good, man. The place is haunted. And I'm like, what'd you say? The place is haunted. And he's like, yeah, the place is haunted. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So I just kind of ignored him, and I walked in the building. He was like one of the temps that worked for he was like a subcontractor's temp or something. So I go in the building, and I'm now in the first floor at the south end of the building. And the electrician for, let's see, what's it called? I think it's called DNS. This guy called Paul. He's standing about halfway between the stairwell and the lobby underneath a string of temporary construction lights. And I said, hey, Paul, this guy says the building is haunted, and as the word haunted comes out of my mouth, all of the bulbs on my side of the hallway turn off. They all burn out like in a rapid succession, and all the ones above Paul's head stay lit, and they're all in the same string. So that's like one of the many, many stories of weird stuff happening there constantly. And that's something that, I mean, no electrician would do it on purpose. You'd have to rig it in a complicated fashion to get half of the bulbs to blow out, because they all blew out. They didn't just turn off. It wasn't like half the string was on one circuit. The whole string was all on one circuit, and it didn't break. It just, all of those bulbs blew out. So, I mean, it was like some shit that you see in the movies. I mean, what can I say? It was like something that you see in the movies, and we just looked at each other and just shook our heads and then went about our business, which in his case was to immediately replace all of those bulbs. So that's the kind of stuff that happened there. And it was compounded by lots and lots of construction incompetence. So I've got great stories where I can portray real people in a totally ridiculous fashion, which is completely based on reality, like literally the whole thing. The only thing that won't be based on reality is that we're going to make it into a murder mystery, right? Because a black comedy, you have to have a murder mystery in a black comedy, okay? It's just required. But it's not going to be very grim. It's going to be like just this side of National Lampoon. is how it's going to be sort of portrayed. So it'll be very ridiculous. I mean, I think I have a couple pages of it written just to sort of like remind me, but that summer was so bizarre because I was just like, yeah, I'll take whatever temp job you have. What, assistant supervisor, because my boss knew that I was kind of skilled, so she didn't want to give me like a crap position. She would always give me the good positions. Of course, we were also cycling teammates. I don't know if her boss was aware of this, but it didn't change the quality of the assignments or the quality of the jobs being done. But in any case, so yeah, it's the Holiday Inn Express on Shainersville Road in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It's only about 1 mile from the Lehigh Valley International Airport, and that place is an energy multiplier, to quote Kimberly, or it's something. There was some weird violence that happened, like some guy threw a knife at somebody. There was weird stuff. People that had worked together for years and never had a problem, like almost messed each other up really bad with a Ephes cutting knife, which is like a giant razor, like a carpet knife, except it's 6 inches long or something like that. Like a razor knife that's like 6 inches long. That's what an Ephes knife is. And somebody threw one at somebody, and it's like, that's an instant. That's certainly aggravated assault. The other guy blocked it with his knife, and then they just went about their day. So yeah, all kinds of weird stuff like that happened. I heard voices the one day. So this is a great story. I was removing the door frame support steel. So, when you ship a steel door frame, you have to tack weld some steel across the bottom of the frame so it doesn't get out of shape in shipping. And then after it's installed, somebody has to remove that piece of steel. And you do it by taking a masonry chisel and smacking it really hard with a hammer until you break the tack welds. And so I was doing that, right? And so I'm crouched down with ear protection on, and I'm inside this steel door frame, and I'm pounding on it. And like the chisel is not breaking the tack weld, and I'm just hitting it harder and harder and harder and harder, and it's not breaking. And I could swear that I hear two voices like talking at a real low volume behind me, which is theoretically possible. One of the contractors had a job box that was directly behind me, and it was open, and I was on the like lid side, so I couldn't see anybody that would be standing on the other side because I was crouched down. And I thought there were two people behind there talking. So I'm pounding on this steel, and I'm like, what are they saying? I can't quite hear what they're saying. It sounds like a conversation like a conversation going on. It was so strange. And I was like, I had to like take a break because I was crouched down for so long. So I stood up and I was like, who's back there? Because I couldn't see under the box or over the box to see anybody that'd be standing there, right? And so I stood up and I could instantly see that there was nobody there at all. And then I was like, well, where did the voices come from, right? So I go back to pounding on the support to try to get it off of this door frame. And I think I finally got it off. And I was like, where were those voices coming from? So I walk out, and the entire building had been evacuated. I actually intentionally waited until most people take break at 10 a.m. because it's so shockingly loud that it'll like mess your hearing up just being in the same room. So, yeah, so I went down the hallway, and there was nobody even in the adjacent hall or the lobby, which were the adjacent rooms to where that was. There's also a spot in the lower floor where there's a huge gap in the floor, which ought not to be there. There's a spot in the downstairs, like janitor's closet, where you can shine a flashlight in and you'll see a big void there that I don't think belongs there. There is no basement. It's just the first floor, and then that's it. Also, interestingly, when they used a a material called gypcrete. And gypcrete is like the concrete that you'd use on a second story floor to make like a concrete floor, but it's not as heavy as concrete. And that stuff it's supposed to take 2 days to dry, and it took like 5 or 6 days to dry, and it was all jacked up. They had to like go in and like put dryers down and stuff. The whole place was like a cursed job. It was berserk. And it was like, I think it was on like a piece of unused farm field. Like it was adjacent to used farm fields. And there's like one swampy spot there that was like never used. And so, yeah, that's the haunted hotel, the Holiday Inn Express on Shainersville Road, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, right by the Lehigh Valley International Airport. You can go stay there for pretty cheap and do your own ghost adventure. Let us know when you do so. We will bring you on the channel for a Discord chat or something like that. All right, so let's switch our imagery here. We're going to put up something else besides those wavelengths. You know, one of the great ones that we don't show enough on the channel is the SDO colorized magnetogram plus 171 angstroms. It's just spectacular because it shows you the field polarity as well as the field strength. Actually, it shows you the strength, the polarity, and the 171 angstroms. It's quite good indeed. So we'll bring that up here. And who among you have had a paranormal story? I actually have another one that I could share, you know, if you like. If you've ever heard the story of the Wraiths of South Mountain, it's a spot that I can actually show you on a map. Well, I guess I don't even have to, but because most of you aren't from anywhere near here. But there is a place that is some of the best mountain biking trails that you'll find in the world. And maybe that's why they're so haunted. Or, well, again, I don't think it's spooky ghosts that are spooky ghosts of dead people that passed away and then their spirits are soaring around in the prime material plane because reasons. That's not what I think it is at all. I have no idea what it is. But it's like something that you've heard about in folklore, for sure, because it was really weird. I mean, and it was on a training ride, so the memories were pretty vivid. Let me scroll your chats here. I'm going to let that scroll. So one lovely fall day, right? Check this out. This one fall day, I was a new mountain bike racer, and I'd never been to these incredible trails that are only about 2 miles from where I lived at the time. And so my cycling mentor, Ron Wexler, tattoo artist, you can follow him on Instagram. Tattoo Ron, R-O-N-N. You can find him on Instagram. He was wearing his Flyers jersey. So there's a cycling team called, let's see, Quaker City Wheelman. I forget. One of the Philadelphia teams was sponsored by the Philadelphia Flyers, and they had an orange-colored jersey that actually had the Flyers logo on it. It was like one of the sponsors of the cycling team. And he got one of these jerseys. These are like guys that we'd race against with, you know, guys that we'd race against every week on the mountain bike circuit. And so he had one of the jerseys because it's like a cool collector's item. And he liked to wear that in fall because nothing says don't run me over or shoot me like an orange jersey. And in the fall, you know, people start to hunt, so it's good to wear orange to not get shot. So he had on his Flyers jersey. He had on some very distinctive Brico glasses, the kind that Cipollini used to wear in the mid-'90s. And then a very distinctive Bell Evo 2 dark green helmet, like a jade green. And anyway, so we're in these trails, and I'd never been there before. And it was kind of, it was like an overcast day, and all the leaves were now yellow. So the fall colors were gone except for the yellow, and it was a lot of maple leaves, and it was like 1/3 of the leaves were on the trail, and 1/3 of the leaves were on the, or 2/3 of the leaves were on the trees yet. So it was very bright yellow in the forest, and you know, colors were like super. Even though it was an overcast day, it was very bright because of all the yellow, and So I'm chasing him down this downhill, and I'm like, oh man, I don't want to get dropped because I don't know where I am. And then I think I see him on the left side of the trail. So I start to slow down because I think that he must have like made a turn and then waited at the trailhead. So, but I'm continuing on, and then I realize that there's no place to turn. And now I think I see him on the right side of the trail, and now I really jam on the brakes because obviously that does not compute. He can't be on the right and the left side of the trail. So that was really weird, and I saw his jersey and his helmet and his glasses over there to my left. So that freaked me out a little bit, and so I jammed on the brakes. I was like, "What is up with that?" I started riding real slow. I didn't want to crash, and right as I did that, I heard chain slap in front of me, which is the sound a mountain bike makes when you're like going over rocks and terrain and stuff. When the chain slaps against a frame, it makes a very distinctive sound. And I heard chain slap, and I looked down the trail, and directly in my view, about 50 yards out, I could actually see Ron the whole time. He was within view the whole time, in my line of sight. But I saw these weird like hallucinations on both sides of the trail. So that was really freaky. And from that day forward, I kept riding those trails for a couple of years. Actually, I worked a job where I was a restaurant manager where those trails were on the way to work. So I would use those trails and ride a giant backpack. And from then on, I would see black silhouettes on the sides of the trail. And it didn't matter if I was uphilling or downhilling. And it was always in the same spots, the same about half-mile section of trail above Emmaus, Pennsylvania, where I would just see these black silhouettes, like it looked like Darth Vader was standing there, right? But then when I would look, there'd be nothing there at all. And just to clarify what I mean by that, and hold on. Just to clarify what I mean by that, normally when you're in the woods, if you see something out of the corner of your eye, you like look over there, and then there's something that's like that color or something, right? If you see like a dark shape, you look over there, you'll see like a rotting stump or a dark colored rock or something like that, right? But this would happen all the time, and there'd be nothing there at all, like no dark anything, just nothing at all. And I would see this like a shadow in my peripheral vision, and then I'd look, and there'd be nothing there. So, and it just that part of the mountain. Also, there was a freak crash there when a stick ended up in Ron's brake pad. That was very strange. So some oddities in that section of woods. I never saw these things move, but the first time I saw the phenomenon, it appeared to look like my training partner. So, that's it changed in that respect, because the first time I saw him, and then I only saw black shape after that. So this is exactly like the doppelganger story that you would see in, I believe that is Irish folklore, where an evil entity would try to like separate you and your party and like trick you into doing something bad, like, falling off a cliff or something like that for whatever reason. It would mimic your trusted, it would mimic your traveling partners. It would try to isolate the weakest and then to try to like cause harm to them or something, like a psychic vampire or some crap like that. But that's what it seems like at first, because it did appear like my riding partner, which is very odd. So, of course, we've got this great prominence going on down here in the southeastern limb. And that's just the data from today. I'll shrink it down one level so that I can burn the chat. Let's burn the chat, and let's burn this live stream and end it, because it can only be so long, and it's not monetized, so it's not going to get recommended. So press the share button, press the like button, tell your friends and foes about the channel. All right, just a moment here. I'm going to come back and do a second news crawl after I play a track. So let me just bring up my test pattern here. We're going to play another track from the 12 Days of Smash Miss playlist. Let me grab that. And I'm going to be back in, well, about 4 minutes. All right, I'm back. We're going to do a science news crawl for once, so that's
I think we're onto something big here.
not the normal thing, but we're going to do one anyway. Because who wants to do the normal thing? We want you to do the abnormal thing, assuming that it's interesting. By the way, this morning's space weather video had approximately 83 tabs. All right, so I'm going to take us to, first of all, I'm not going to go to this adpocalypse. It's an adpocalypse. All right, this website is Splentacular. If you've never checked it out, highly recommend it. You could read it every day. They post stuff on Sundays, okay? They are not screwing around. We love it. It's a highly legit publication. And you may cry that it's mainstream or whatever, but dude, SciTech Daily is legit. All right, ads are vanishing. So SciTech Daily, super good. Every day, just a flow. I mean, you just go down the posts, and there's just awesome stuff there. The hidden mathematics of crowds. Did you know this stuff can be very accurately modeled? You can actually build like public areas in specific ways. And goodness graciousness, look at the ads. You can build public spaces in certain ways and it'll cause traffic to flow in certain ways. It's very interesting, you know. We always make fun of our goldfish because our goldfish are school fish and they influence each other. Check it out. Here's a here's a math equation. Parabolic lane formation captured in a human crowd experiment. The red group crosses the experimental arena south to north, and the blue group targets a narrow gate on the side. In agreement with the theory, the crowd spontaneously self-organizes into lanes shaped as confocal parabolas. Yup, that's what happens. You ought to see what happens in a bike race when people are going 30 miles an hour instead of walking. So yeah, school fish. School fish are, super funny because our goldfish, they swim in a school. There's only 2 of them, and the one fish hangs out like on the information spot, like the back hip. Like in the hip pocket of the other fish. They hang out there in school formation. It's so weird. And sometimes they switch off. Sometimes they'll battle for position. They'll go like this. But some of the behaviors are indeed predictable. All right, what else do we have? Opioids dominate as primary cause of poisoning deaths in children. Is that any surprise? How about those? Have you seen the ecstasy tablets that look like candies that are laced with fentanyl? Oh, that's a good one, right? Yeah, ecstasy tablets laced with fentanyl and colorful like Skittles. Great idea. What could possibly go wrong? Well, opioids dominating as the primary cause of poisoning deaths in children could go wrong. Let us know in the comments if there's anything more offensive than fentanyl-laced cocaine. I mean, give me a break. Like, somebody's trying to take a central nervous stimulant and they're getting a central nervous depressant. That's like, that's enough to get your ghetto pass revoked. Okay? Your ghetto pass is revoked if you do such a thing. In fact, any fentanyl that is not wanted is an instant ghetto pass revocation. You cannot walk the streets safely anymore. You will be pelted by a tomato and or other objects, which will remain unnamed on this soon-to-be remonetized YouTube live stream. Yes. Quantum computing advances by IBM in material science. That's always good. Secrets of 9-foot-tall, 1,500-pound elephant birds revealed by ancient eggshells. Oh, please let that be a thing. 1,500-pound elephant birds. Dag. Check out this image. That's what an egg would have looked like when freshly laid. That is berserk. Let's look up this thing. And of course, extinct species are always very interesting. Dag. It's like a mega ostrich. Check it out. It's like an ostrich of doom. It was around until the year 1000. Somebody was very hungry for an omelet, and they shouldn't have had that omelet. They should have fed 64 people with that omelet instead of eating it themselves. You godforsaken glutton, you. Anyway, on the island of Madagascar, yes, the island of Madagascar. Who knew there was a giant... Jeez. That thing is... I think it's pretty berserk looking. Dag. Man, oh man. Did you know that Sundar Pichai, the current CEO of Google, he made a name for himself at Google by, via the Chrome browser? That seems like a bad name. Does that seem like a bad name to you? By the way, we've gone to warp. So if you've heard an uptick in the noise there, we've gone back to warp because, well, I mean, we've got to eventually return to the galactic center. So, we like to hang around by the galactic core because we're not detectable there, okay? So, I mean, there are bunkers and then there are bunkers. And, we just hope that you Earthlings don't have bunkers that are too deep because, those deep bunkers are practically as dangerous as being on a trapeze in space. So, let that be a lesson to you, you silly Earthlings. That's one to grow on there now, folks. So, be safe, folks. Be safe with this brilliant information. Man, I don't understand why Google's junkware is so broken. You'd think they'd be able to write software. I mean, seriously, there's what that thing looked like. Dude. Oh, I have to show you. There we go. That's better. Pardon the delay, yes. So there is that thing. I think that might be a drumstick that's too big for one. What do you think? That's a little bit too big of a drumstick, I think. Like about a 400-pound drumstick there or something like that. That thing is, let's just say you wouldn't want to be kicked by one. It would be, it would be worse than being kicked by a cyclist. It would be worse than being kicked by a cyclist who learned Taekwondo in 4th grade. Yeah, that would be bad. You wouldn't want to do that. That would be getting kicked by prehistoric fauna or cyclists who know Taekwondo. Taekwondo is a great martial art. It's the art of breaking stuff. All right, so you want to look at some more SDO imagery? How about a nice 48-hour SDO video. What do you say? I mean, I'm going to show it anyway, but what do you say? Oh, I can blow that up way bigger. Let's see. Let's make that a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. There we go. There is the past 24 hours. There are your chats, and if I've missed anything, well, all the viewers will be able to see them. Oh, wait. We allow everybody's comments to appear. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, we're a reckless channel. You know, back in 2020, people accused us of having dangerous ideas. Folks, if there are ideas that cause you to be frightened, you have a weak mind. You should be able to imagine anything, no matter how spooky it is, and probably have some discernment whether or not it's likely to be a real thing. I mean, dag, check that out. Some great imagery of that CME in the Northwest. I didn't realize that showed up so well in 171 angstroms. So, thanks to people like you for tuning into the video. I would have never even seen that. Check out the upper right there. Right up here. That really shows up good in 171 angstroms. I thought that was a little bit less clear in that wavelength. So my thoughts on the East Palestine disaster is that lots of trains derail. I mean, plastics are good and trains derail. You would think that there would be a whole series of contingencies and protocols that would occur when that sort of hazardous material derailment happens. I mean, I'm always pretty careful about my hazardous materials. I figure if I was hauling a trainload of it, I would have entire systems in place for the expectation that a crash is going to happen, because, I mean, in any logistical field, it's not a matter of when it's going to crash. I mean, it's not a matter of if it's going to crash, it's a matter of when it's going to crash. Things break, things fail, there are unexpected contingencies. I mean, you're not just going to have a hunky-dory logistics where everything is just fine all the time. Stuff's going to go wrong, really wrong. And you have to be prepared for that, right? You need to be prepared for all contingencies, right? So, that brings me to an important point, right? We've got our forums, right? Smashomash.com/forum. You ever heard of it? Check it out. If you go to the Smash Team site, you will find smashomash.com/forums. Not forums, forum. Just one, no S. Smashomash.com/forum. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll find a mission statement. And you'll notice part of our mission statement, and feel free to check this out on your own. It's smashomash.com/forum/mission. One of our goals is to assist mankind by advancing the study of predictive phenomenon in order to optimize value, reduce risk and liability, and save lives and resources, and adapt no matter what the adversity is. Yeah, no matter what it is. Because there are lots of spooky things that could happen. And you should have all of those known knowns figured out. And you should know something about mitigating the risk. That's where predictive phenomenon comes in, right? That which you can forecast isn't so dangerous. Why is it that there are almost no weather deaths anymore? You notice that? Weather deaths, they've gone down like, I'm just going to guess here, over 92% in the past 100 years. Why is that? It's because of things like satellites and Doppler radars and the internet and coordinated barometric pressure systems and tidal gauges and things like that. It's called science. And the purpose of it is not just to advance technology, but to advance predictive understanding of the universe, right? if you can forecast, you've accomplished something. So anyway, I won't continue on with that. Let's continue to scroll down here. I don't know how I got on that rant. That was a weird one. Yes, and if you like the tracks, check out the 12 Days of Smashmas. So, I mean, many of you may only watch certain videos on the channel, but there is all kinds of other content besides the space weather content. So, I mean, this video is actually in the category of how-to and lifestyle. So we do put up videos that are classified as news and politics. And, you know, we've got various different types of videos there. So now keep in mind that if you look up Golden Cat Productions, you'll find our tracks all over the internet. Okay, that's my record label. I started that back in the year 2000. And here, let's demonstrate. In fact, I haven't checked this on Google for a long time here, so let's just see what this is all about. Let's check it out. Golden Cat Productions, there it is on Facebook. There it is on Spotify. You'll find it on Apple Music. music.apple.com/artist/golden-cat-productions. There is a YouTube channel topic about it. That does generate revenue. There is a SoundClick and a SoundCloud. That is some more weird stuff, especially the SoundCloud. Beware. There could be some there could be unsettling lyrics. Keep in mind some of the tracks are very, very old, from around the year 2000. So if you check out Spotify, I mean, very popular. I clicked it. So there you go. Yeah, so there's Blacksmith. That's one of the tracks in the 12 Days of Smashmas, and you got Tilt-A-Whirl there, and you'll find some Golden Cat Productions all over the internet. So, and also check out our forums. That's completely free. And smashamash.com/smashteam even has a free bronze level. You can get email alerts about things like tsunamis and stuff like that. And if you click the posts page, even if you're not logged in, you don't need any level to see the posts page. Here, I'll send the link. Give that a minute to load there. And of course, we built our website back in 2019 in response to pathetic censorship by Facebook. Yeah, by Facebook. So Facebook caused us to go, well, we're going to go out on our own. So there's the latest posts page. If you've never seen that before, you smashamash.com/smashteam and click posts. That should be the thumbnail for this video. And then most of the releases on YouTube are listed there. Keep in mind, there is some stuff that's exclusive to YouTube, so make sure you check out the YouTube channel directly. Our community posts feature things that are recommended to our YouTube viewers and nobody else. So there is no one spot to find all of the content. And of course, if you want to find out about the solar cycle's plausible theory, then perhaps become a gold member, a Gold Smash Team member. And of course, to all of our Gold Smash Team members, if you do want an @smashamash.com email address, we will hook you up with that also. So you only need to sign up for 1 month of a gold membership, and we will hook you up with an @smashamash.com email address. We don't read your emails. We have no idea about that. It's not, we completely uncensored in terms of on the forum. We don't censor any of your comments on YouTube. We don't block or mute anybody. Just keep in mind that that allows you the complete freedom to make an idiot of yourself. So maybe don't do that. We don't rule out the possibility that you'll be berated for saying something stupid. And look, sometimes it should be encouraged, because when people are stupid enough and irresponsible and just bizarre weirdos, on YouTube enough, it eventually becomes a problem. So, you've got to do the appropriate market research to understand the ramifications of why you're getting such weird questions and things like that. So that's just, something to understand there. It's pretty interesting. Have you ever seen the potential field surface source imagery? We don't show that on the channel. We used to show that quite a bit. The PFSS, potential field surface source lines. Let's bring up the composite here. That's always some interesting imagery. And actually, let's break out the GOES 16 here for a minute. See what's going on with this filament down here. That is a prominent filament indeed. So, I don't know, I guess we ought to close out there. Should I keep the stream going? Was there something else that you wanted to hear about? If so, let us know. You have 2 minutes or $1 trillion. All right, so we're going to put your chats back up one more time. We'll scroll through those. Thanks again, everybody who left comments. Thanks, everybody who viewed the video live. Thanks, everybody who's able to actually see the content. Congratulations on realizing the channel exists. I'm sure it was no easy journey to find the channel. Sky Thing used to be a paranormal investigator. Kimberly, why does it matter if there are stables? What do stables have to do with a haunting? Are you berserk? By the way, that's I think I should make. You think I should make a berserk? I could put the sprites from the Atari 2600 video game. What do you think? Oh, and by the way, have you seen the new merch? We put out 4 new pieces of merch, not just Maxa. By the way, this is the first time we rolled out Maxa. Nobody knew about that until, well, maybe if you looked at the Redbubble shop, but otherwise, you wouldn't have known. Of course, the first one that we rolled out was the Croissant Earth, because that one actually generated some comments on BitChute. So, in fact, you know what? I have an idea. I know how to keep the stream going, because there's something else certainly interesting to cover here. So I almost completely forgot. There are some delicious comments on BitChute. So, when will you stop believing NASA's lies and realize that Earth is not shaped like a sphere nor a pizza, but Earth is indeed shaped like a French breakfast pastry? Now look, because I like you viewers a lot, even if you didn't view the video in the live stream, if you viewed this video later because you didn't see the live stream, because it wasn't recommended by YouTube, because it was demonetized before even going live, if that happened, you might not know about this. But since we like you, here's some insider info. Check it out. I just wanted to show you some behind-the-scenes stuff, which you'll see only very rarely. So, you see all those images? Those are all the videos that we take of the sun. And you see this image right here? That image right there, that is the template that we used for the Croissant Earth. Okay? So hopefully that made your day. Check it out. You see that? Look at that. Now, look at that. Look familiar? Yeah, it ought to. It ought to. I thought that was a good example. I think that might be a Burger King croissant. Anyway, yeah, the Croissant Earth Society. Thanks to all of you for joining the Croissant Earth Society. You'll be sent your welcome kit in 6 to 8 millennia. Yeah, 6 to 8 millennia. Of course, the one we featured on this morning's video was Pick 2. It can either be fast and good and expensive, or good and cheap and slow, or it can be fast and cheap and bad. Pick 2. You only get 2. And of course, last but not least, this video was streamed in the first place because reasons. So, I mean, let's just have a little breakdown here. Shadow bans still exist because reasons. There's zero accountability because reasons. Corporatocracy continues on in a plutocratic corporatist nightmare because reasons. Did I mention how there's no accountability? I sure did. I'm going to mention it again. You know why? Because reasons. Let's see, what else? How about certain guilty parties responsible for the deaths of millions, not accountable in any possible way, and many people are not even believing that there's accountability to be met? Well, anyway, it doesn't really matter. You know why? Because accountability always comes. Accountability, folks. It always comes. So it doesn't really matter. You know why? Because reasons. Anyway, that's a perfect place to close out the live stream because reasons. So yeah, once again, thanks to all of our viewers for showing up. I'm just seeing if I have to respond to any chat statements. I guess I can put them back on the screen, right? All right, hold on. I've got things open that don't need to be. We'll put the GOES 16 SUVI back. And your delightful comments. Mama Sarita asks why I started Golden Cat Productions. Because we had a desire to make some fresh tracks. I mean, we heard a lot of weak music out there, and we thought that we could do better. So, again, it is sort of the same reason why we made the channel. It's because we saw a niche to make something a little bit better instead of to bitch, if that makes sense. So, yeah, that's sort of where it came from. We realized that, I mean, I'm a classically trained guitarist, and I can play a variety of instruments. I'm also a rather well-established vocalist. You may have noticed from the videos that I've got a bit of range, and not only that, I can sing. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on there. I, from the perspective of Golden Cat Productions, am the whole thing at this point. Originally, there were 3, then there were 2, and now there's 1. So it was originally a band, and now I'm sort of a composer / producer. I mean, I've got tons of music that I could license out. I own the publishing and rights to all of it. So if you know anybody who's looking for some custom tracks, you know anybody who makes movies or anything like that, a lot of our Golden Cat Productions tracks are perfect for movie soundtracks. So send them our way. You know, you can find the email address at smashomash.com right there on the homepage. Drop us a line. It's smashomash@gmail.com. So, I mean, and I've even made custom music for people on a few occasions, but for the most part, it's like music for music's sake, sort of like fine art, just nerding out, making tracks for whatever reason. Some of them are based on an idea, some of them are based on a melody, drum beat, stuff like that. There really is no set feature. And again, I play a variety of different instruments, so a lot of times people will hear the music and they'll say, "How did you make that?" And I go, "I don't know. It depends." A combination of software and live instruments. You know, not just live recordings, but also software and just combinations, editing, all kinds of stuff goes on. So I don't know. It's like asking somebody, "How did you make a movie?" You know what I mean? Like, how did you make that movie? Well, I filmed things. I used other effects. I might have even used stock footage. So, I mean, I've made entire tracks out of just a couple of notes. You know, like I've taken people's piano music and made that into an entire song, things like that. It all just depends. You know, sometimes you have a vision for what you want something to sound like, and sometimes you're just dabbling and you end up with something great. So that's sort of the way it works. You never know what'll happen. And check it out, we got a CME happening. So a CME up here in the northeastern limb. Looking like a minor one, and it's not looking like it's anywhere near earthly directed. All right, it's time to close this thing out. We'll see you soon, probably with some videos about stuff like space weather, cosmology, astrophysics, etc. It'll be a delight. And, of course, as always, it's been a delight stargazing and looking at other interesting stories with folks like you. So press like, subscribe, share, etc. We'll see you soon. Don't forget to visit the websites and other links below the video in the description. Join us on Twitter if you want to send an instant message at any point in time. Hit us up on Discord. There's a permanent invite link to the Discord chat room right there on the homepage at smashomash.com. So see you later. Signing off from the Smash News Network, Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. May that solar wind be at your back.